Right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Unfortunately, I have to bring you two negative news videos in a row, and that is because cryptocurrency has suffered a series of bad events in the past week or so, and it's certainly taking a beating in the exchanges. And at the end of this video, I'm going to speculate on what will happen next depending on how it goes. But for now, the first article I have is that Kraken is down. It's been down for 36 or 48 hours now. I believe 48, as the second article says. And so if you use Kraken, you certainly already know this, but Kraken is plagued with problems. It always has been, so this is not particularly surprising to me. However, people are very, very upset about this. If Kraken Exchange isn't working perfectly, I'm going to call the FBI. It's a 25-plus year lawyer tweet. And Kraken has been down for 24 hours. Hodlers are getting very nervous, and I don't blame you one bit. There must be billions on the exchange. Is this Mount Gox 2.0? And I can't really speculate too much further on this. If you are on Kraken, and whenever Kraken does come back up, I highly suggest moving all of your currency off to a different exchange. Kraken, as I said before, is just littered, plagued with problems. Nothing but complaints on Reddit's. And so that is that. Also, another poor thing that happened in the crypto world is that Warren Buffett said that cryptocurrencies will come to a bad end. So in terms of cryptocurrencies, generally I can say that with almost certainty that they will end badly, in a nutshell. When it happens, or how, or anything else, I don't know. One thing further he said as well, he said that he didn't know a lot about Bitcoin futures, and that he also declines to bet against the price of the declining Bitcoin. And this is kind of interesting because I've seen multiple famous investors say the same thing when asked the question, will you bet against Bitcoin? If you're so sure that cryptocurrency will fail, will you bet against it? And they always refuse to do it because they really don't know. They're just sort of speculating. So how this affects cryptocurrency should be pretty obvious. First of all, Warren Buffett is essentially a famous investor. So he's like sort of a celebrity investor, if you will. He's very, very famous and very, very rich. So now I don't respect Warren Buffett for saying these things, and I'm sure most of you that are viewing this feel exactly the same, as he's bashing cryptocurrency, and this is all crypto investors watching this, or miners, you guys too. So, but one thing you have to notice is that he is indeed a famous celebrity investor. So what he says can have ripple effects on the market. If he says something good about cryptocurrency, if he went out and said Bitcoin is the future, go out and get Bitcoin, you know the next day tens of thousands of people would go out and they would instantly buy Bitcoin. In the same way that if you handed Michael Jordan a pair of basketball shoes and put a camera in front of him, and then he said, buy these shoes, they're amazing. Of course, a million people are going to go out and they're going to buy those shoes, because if Michael Jordan loves them, then I will love them too, and they're going to help my basketball game as well. So if Warren Buffett likes something, many, many people are going to follow. And so if he says something bad about cryptocurrency, of course, that's going to fall as well. So Jamie Dimon also talks smack, if you will. I don't know if anybody uses that word anymore on cryptocurrencies, and whenever he does, there's a slight ripple effect in the price of Bitcoin, and you can see it a little bit, but he's not powerful enough in itself just to say something and then crash a currency. But you can tell a little bit after somebody says something in the crypto world. And also, it's funny to note that Jamie Dimon also refuses to bet against Bitcoin as well. He was asked that question and refuses to do so, which is interesting to say the least, because if you're so sure that it's not a good idea, then why not bet against it? That's a real thing. So now I did talk about this in my last video. So for anybody that didn't see it, what happened, CoinMarketCap is a huge average of all of the exchanges, and it's a major website. It's probably the first website when you type in the price of a particular crypto coin. And so when you go to that site, you can see the price. That's an average of all the exchanges. And in South Korea, they value their coins a little bit more. than we do, about 30% more than the rest of the world, essentially. And so they essentially just removed those exchanges from the average to just average it out better. I'm not really sure why they did it, and I guess it was just creating a little confusion. There's, you know, these prices on their site are a little higher than what you see on, let's say, an American exchange or a European exchange. So they removed those, and that brought that average down a lot. So this morning we excluded some Korean exchanges and price calculations due to extreme divergence in prices from the rest of the world and a limited arbitrage opportunity. So we are working on better tools to provide users with the averages that are most relevant to them. So they dropped them, maybe they'll pick them up later, not really sure. Maybe they can't, considering the exchanges over there are much, much higher. I heard 30% on average. And so the next one, I also talked about this last video as well, and there's some speculation that it's true and some that it's false. I've seen it sort of flip-flopping around, and nobody can really say if it's true or not. However, South Korea is cracking down. It could pop the Bitcoin bubble. So Park Sang-ki, can't read South Korean, so don't get me on that one. I know it's meme now, not mem. Announced that the South Korean government was considered making cryptocurrency trading illegal. So the broad crypto market suffered another steep sell-off. Apparently reading is really hard today for me. Bitcoin and Ethereum both fell by 14%. So as you can see, bad news really ripples through any kind of market. I always like to say that investors are like horses, and they get spooked really easily. So if they don't have blinders on, they can easily just start bucking up and kicking their rider off and running off into the sunset. And so investors, instead of loud noises scaring them, it's merely bad news most of the time. And so what happens is that they hear bad news and they just get out, because they know that bad news is really going to affect people. Even if they know that bad news is not really true, they'll still get out, because they know that other people are going to believe that it's bad, and they'll get out. And so then the order books of an exchange start piling up. You start to see this huge piling of people ready to sell. And when that happens, other people jump on, and other people jump on, because they know that if they don't get on it now, they'll lose money. They won't be able to sell it for a while. And if you sell it now, you might be able to trade within the dip or pick it up for a much cheaper price in a little bit, I suppose. So South Korea, it's very interesting. All of their cryptocurrency is much higher, and they have a weird trading anxiety situation going on, and that affects everybody. And so they're really cracking down on Bitcoin in South Korea. So it's really interesting. Another thing that I found interesting is that Bitcoin has not jumped up into 15,000 for very long. It's been about 15,000, and in a few days it's gone up there a little bit, and it's just going right back down again. Now it is on a slight resurgence upward, but as you can see, even the overlays are still going downwards to some degree. So I feel that it's going to keep going down eventually. I think this is just a pop up real quick, and then it's probably going to come back down. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Now it's gotten pretty low here in the past few days. We're looking at 12.8 there on GDAX, and the big question is what happens when it hits, if it hits $10,000. If it hits $10,000, it could go two ways. So the big question, once it hits 10,000 again, is that going to spark a buy off, and people are just going to start buying it like crazy because it's such a good deal? Or is that going to spark a further sell-off? And if it sparks a further sell-off, then altcoins are going to go down, Bitcoin's going to go down, and we could be looking at some big trouble. The reason is because if it goes all the way down to 9,000 or somewhere below 10,000, that's really going to shatter a lot of people's belief in Bitcoin, because it's at one point on GDAX, I think the highest it got was 19,800 some. We could probably go back to the whole day and maybe find the highest. 19,008, And it looks like it did that maybe about a couple times. This one a little bit less, about 400 less. And so if it got all the way to $19,800 and it goes all the way down to 8,000, that's a pretty major crash. And it could shatter people's beliefs, what could further the sell-off even further. So what I suggest to everybody watching this video is don't worry about it. This has happened over and over and over with Bitcoin. If I could come out even further on the chart, I would. I could go to Coinbase, but so could you guys just the same. And just look at the yearly chart and look at it at a year, and it's way, way up regardless. So people are always looking at the chart like this, and they see the 15-minute, they see the 1 day, or excuse me, the 1 hour average, and the 6 hour, and they're like, wow, Bitcoin is way down from where it was. Even if you look at the 1 day, it's way down by thousands and thousands. But as you can see, just before that, just before 19,800, it was all the way down to 7,000, no more than a couple months ago. So just hold your coin, never sell for less than you bought. Hold your coin, and it's okay to sell your coin and day trade your coin. That's good for the market. That produces liquidity, and that keeps a market alive. You know, if it goes all the way up to 19,000 and you sell, and it dips a few thousand, a couple thousand, and you buy in again and do it again, that's great for the market. It means it keeps it going, and it gets people investing, produces liquidity. So I just wanted to make this video to show you guys some of the reasons behind the recent Bitcoin and cryptocurrency dip and what actually causes those reasons. So I'm hoping that all of you viewers take all of these into consideration, what I just showed you today, that there are numerous factors that can affect cryptocurrency, and one big factor is the news. If there's bad news out there, it's going to go down. Don't let it spook you. Just think of it as an opportunity to pick up some excellent Bitcoin. If you guys got some extra change floating around, one good thing, maybe set it down here. You never know. You might pick it up at 12,009. I think that's a pretty good deal. I hope it doesn't go down below that. But if you are thinking that it might go down to 10,000, what you can do is set that buy order at 10,000. But watch for it, and maybe it only gets down to 10.5 or 11, and if it starts going back up from there, maybe hop in there, and that way you can get it at a pretty low price, but you are pretty sure that it's not going to continue going down anymore, and you bought it once it started to rise up again, and now you're riding that money train back on up to the top where it's supposed to be. So hodl your coins, guys. Don't sell early. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.